and welcome to podcast number 345. New doesn't require latest. How you folks doing? Boy, it's been a heck of an exciting week. Big announcements, lots of fun. Emails coming in. Appreciate the love. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the feedback. Thank you guys. I really appreciate your support. Also appreciate my good friends at Bedford Camera. Bedfords.com, sponsors of the Moose Podcast. Hey, besides the big announcement, all the good stuff, you know, the Nikon's got some big spring savings going on. Yep, they're at Bedford's. You can save some even bigger money other than the Moose discount that you get by mentioning moi at the end of your sale. Bedford's Camera, home of great prices, great service, great products. Hey, these guys, they're the best. So thank you, Bedford's, for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. I'm going to get right into this week's episode. New doesn't require latest. Now, once again, something new has been out there, and it brings up all these questions. Do I need it? Do I want it? Should I get it? Pre-order it? What should I do? Do I believe all the stuff on the web? And hey, just a side note, you know, all these, I don't know why you folks, or why folks, I should say, why folks pay any attention to these people who say, you know, they compare all these things about the camera before they even have it in their hands. What is with that? I mean, it's like saying, you know, 2 weeks before you get served Christmas dinner, man, that was the greatest dinner ever. How do you know they didn't burn the roast? I mean, seriously. Anyway, off that rant. So, here we are, photographers with new stuff in front of us again. And the questions come up, internally, externally. To buy or not to buy? I'm going to just give you and talk about myself, and that in that process, I'm hoping that maybe you might find some solution, insight, answers for yourself on this question. Now, new. It doesn't mean it's the latest that was just announced today or yesterday. New is new to you. One example. The Z51.2 was out for almost 2 years before I actually went and said, what's this lens? What's it going to do? Is it going to solve this issue I have and problem coming up that I want that really shallow depth of focus? It was out for a couple of years before I actually requested a sample from MPS. One of the great, things about MPS is you can get a loaner. On the little box, it says for, what's the exact words? I forget. Anyway, basically, it says for your own personal testing. And I said, yep. And I got it. And yeah, I was warned I'd really love it. I really love it. But the point is, it wasn't brand new. It hadn't just hit Bedford shelves. It was out for a while. Another example. I've got the Z600 F4. And you're going to hear more about that from me as time goes on. And once again, I didn't get it when it first came out. It's been out for, a year or more now? And I have the F-mount 800 5.6 AFS, which, as you know, I have ranted and raved and loved that lens since the first moment it hit my office. I mean, it is an absolutely gorgeous lens. So why, after all these years, and it's a lot now, did I move forward? Well, you're going to hear me say this way too much, I think, probably in the future, but as I've gotten older, point blank, carrying a whole lot of weight on my back as I go through airports, yeah, it's just, it's not fun anymore. And the 600 F4 has the built-in 1.4 teleconverter. So when it's engaged, it's 840 millimeter f5.6. So it's 40 millimeters longer than the lens I've got, but here's the big deal. It's 4 pounds less weight. Yeah, 4 pounds less weight. That's just huge. Now, talking about f-mount, at this point, the 180, as I mentioned, the 180 to 400 VR, sold that lens. It's gone. The 800 5.6 AFS, I'm going to keep that if for another reason, for nostalgia, even though I probably won't shoot with it, with the 600 f4 as, as glorious as it is. But I have, at this point, gone all Z-mount, all mirrorless. And that brings us back to, new doesn't require the latest. All right, so still using myself as an example, shooting the Z9. Love that Z9. Love that Z9. In my case, it replaced this really spectacular D6. And the only big thing that really was, the factor for me in completely leaving the D6 in the F-mount system was the fact that I shoot a lot of video. And with the Z9, I can keep my eye to that viewfinder using proper hand-holding and shoot video, and with a flip of a lever, shoot stills, something I could not do with the D6 because you can't see through the viewfinder when you're shooting video with that DSLR. It has a mirror. What if you don't shoot video? There's a lot of you who don't. I can understand why. That D6 of mine, which just had a few months of life, I sold it. You could pick it up for a song. You could pick it up for a whole lot less than I did. And wouldn't that be new? But then comes the thing about latest. Well, that D6 was the latest Pro Nikon DSLR. So even though it's not the one that was just announced today or yesterday or last week, it is new to you, and it's the latest technology in the DSLR realm for Nikon. What am I trying to say to you? Folks tend to get all wound up. They start by reading all these really stupid things online, comparing a bunch of information they really don't know. They're just guessing at it. I'm telling you they don't know. I'm telling you they're guessing at it. And then I get the emails, is it really going to do this? As if I could sit there and break my NDA. No, if I do know anything, no. But just because, okay, it's the new and the latest doesn't mean it's going to make your photography better, make your life better. It is worth worrying about. And then there's those that say, well, they came out with this today, and I know that they'd come out with that tomorrow. I'm going to wait. That one really drives me crazy, because you're going to wait, not take pictures, not fulfill your passion, enjoy that pastime on something that might be coming. It's like people who are in a fishing hole and they're catching really good fish, and they go, I'm going to go down there because there might be bigger fish in that hole. And they go down there, and a lot of times, especially if you're a fisherman, it didn't work out so well. Then you come back to that hole and it's gone. I mean, I have the same attitude when I'm out taking photographs. If I've got a subject in front of me that's just, really cool, and I'm not going to leave it because I hear that something's better around the corner, because when you go to around the corner, someone's going to say, you should have been here just a minute ago. I mean, how many times you heard that one? It's the same with camera gear, folks. You don't need to have the latest. Then there's the folks that honestly say to me, well, I hear you saying that, Moose, and I've listened to your podcast, but don't you always have the latest? I don't always have the latest. I will always look at tools as tools. And to me, cameras and lenses are tools. Going back to examples. I had the Z6, the Z7, the Z6 II all in my kit the same time as I had that D6. And if you go back in time a few years when the Z6, Z7 were first brought to the market, Nikon said it's meant to complement your system. And that's exactly how I used it, what I told folks to do. It wasn't meant to replace it. That's then. Here's now. Why has mirrorless replaced the DSLR for myself, I just gave you the number one reason. And the number two reason is, that C600F4 is the perfect example. It's 4 pounds less weight. 4 pounds. And the other attribute about that lens you're going to hear me keep raving about is it focuses 5 feet closer than my 800 5.6. So at 840, 5.6, it focuses 5 feet closer. And then when I compare it to I had the 600F4 AF, AFS2, I had the 600F4 AFI, I even had a manual focus 600F4. So the 600F4, that lens is not new to the old Mooser, no. But this one focuses 5 feet closer. That is just huge. And then you can put on the new Z1.4 2X in addition to that. Results are spectacular. Didn't have that option with the D6. And if I kept shooting the D6, I wouldn't be able to take advantage of that Z600F4. It's lighter weight or closer focusing. That's the takeaway you need from this podcast. You have to look at these tools, the means that you have to spend on the tools, the problem solving those tools bring, and then whatever you get, even if it's not the latest, it will be new to you and your photography. And that is the key. It's new to you and your photography. Maybe not the newest to the industry. That doesn't guarantee anything for your photography. There are I know at least 2 videographers who spend a lot of time searching for some of the old Nikkor, chrome barrel, old Nikon, non-AI lenses because of certain attributes those lenses have for the videography. And that is, we're talking stuff from the 60s and the 70s, okay? 60 or 70-year-old gear. Does a great job. If you know the job you need to perform, the tools are out there. And why am I bringing this up again? Because this is not the first podcast, let's be frank, that I've kind of done this, I'm not going to say a pep talk, but a reality check that just because it just got announced this week doesn't mean you've got to own it. And the reason is because the best tool, the freaking best tool in photography is the one between your ears that is energized by your heart. That is still going to be the best tool. And every day you wake up, it's going to be new. And every day you wake up, it's going to be the latest because it's going to have everything from the day before embedded in it that you can now apply today. So when it comes to camera gear, new doesn't require the latest. You have that every day when you think about it. Now, with that in mind, we are photographers. Can't get over that fact. When I go to the photographers' alcoholic addiction meetings, I see a lot of you there. We all raise our hands. We all say, I'm Moose. I'm addicted to cameras. I'm addicted to lenses. I understand that. There ain't nothing better than the smell of a brand new lens when you open up that box or that body. But with that in mind, in all seriousness, I really much rather see photographers spend their hard-earned money out shooting than out buying camera gear. Yes, there are some who say, oh, the industry won't keep going. Don't worry. We all keep buying. That's not the issue. The issue is buying smartly when we do buy, buying it when it works, and it solves a problem. Keep giving you examples over and over again how I always try something before I buy it. It just saves a little extra in the long run. That's why, when you look at my gear page on the website, it don't have many changes. It simply don't. I'm in business. Can't afford to do that all the time. So, there's more new stuff coming, folks. It ain't over with yet. I mean, we got some other cool stuff around the corner, some really cool stuff coming. So, take a deep breath, enjoy the ride, have a great time taking pictures, and just remember, new doesn't require the latest. Thank you, folks, so much for dropping by. You have a great week, and remember to make every click your story.